The county of Donegal is the northernmost part of Ireland, even though it still remains part of southern Ireland. It boasts some of Ireland's most spectacular scenery: windswept glacial valleys, beautiful coastlines, and the highest cliffs in Europe. Donegal is the most remote place in Ireland, and this is what makes it so attractive. It's a place of mountains, lakes, and moors, a county unspoilt by the modern world, where wild scenery surrounds deep lochs and the cleanest air in Europe fills the senses. Visitors to Donegal can truly get away from it all. It really is possible to travel for miles without seeing another soul. There are towns in Donegal, but by modern standards they are very small, but nonetheless utterly charming. The largest and most often visited of these towns is Donegal. The original Celtic name for Donegal is Donegal, which means the fort of the foreigners. This refers to the occupation of Ireland by the Vikings. The town of Donegal is a thriving market town located in Donegal Bay. It is situated on the River Esk, only a few miles from the traditional Irish region called the Gaeltacht. In the center of Donegal, there is the Diamond Obelisk. This monument commemorates the founding of Donegal Abbey in 1474, and in particular, the Four Masters. The Four Masters were four Franciscan monks who wrote the definitive history of Celtic culture in a book called The Annals of the Four Masters. It chronicles the entire history from 40 years before the flood until 1618 AD. Unfortunately, the abbey was accidentally blown up in 1601 while the book was still being written, but the Annals of the Four Masters survived and was finished elsewhere. Donegal is world-renowned for its hand-woven tweed, and only a stone's throw from the Diamond Obelisk is McGee's. McGee's of Donegal is still run by the same family who established it in 1866. In the late 19th century, wooden looms were used to make the hand-woven Donegal tweed. They still produce tweed in the old-fashioned way, hand-woven, as they have done for the last 125 years. McGee's is the only company in Donegal which is still weaving and tailoring hand-woven tweed. The fabrics are blended into yarn and then woven into cloth. As you can see, it's hard work, requiring a good eye and lots of coordination to work all the pedals in the shuttle, which zooms across the strands carrying its thread. On top of all that skill is the patience of the weaver, who would have to sit there for many hours during each day producing this exceptional cloth. Nowadays, McGee's are equally famous for their other luxury fabrics such as mohair, cashmere, and lamb's wool. cloth itself is made by a workforce of over 600 people. This cloth is of the highest quality and is appreciated by such prestigious designers as Ralph Lauren and Armani. All the fabrics are produced under the McGee label for export all over the world, whether they are modern colors and styles or the more traditional tweed in the colors of the Donegal landscape itself. The cloth seems to encapsulate the essence of Ireland, with patterns and colors inspired by the landscapes of Donegal. In the northeast of the county of Donegal lies Glavanna National Park. 10,000 acres of wild moors, woodland, and valleys surrounding the tranquil quiet of Loch Bow. Glavanna Castle stands beside Loch Bow. This fairy tale castle was created by John George Adair, who bought the land in 1857 and built the castle around 1870. The castle was once owned by the American art historian Arthur Kingsley Porter, a specialist in medieval sculpture. One day, he set off in his fishing boat, never to be seen again. His boat was found, but there was no sign of the occupant. Gossip said that he faked his own death in order to get away from his unhappy domestic life. Glavanna National Park is made up of glacial valleys that carve their way through grouse moors and blanket bog. There are glens and mountains to be explored along the shoreline of Loch Bow. The park is open all year, so visitors can enjoy the wild beauty of the park in any of the 4 seasons. The park is wooded with imported rhododendron and spruce, mixed with the more native flora such as oak and birch trees. Visitors flock to the park in the summer, but with the size of Glavanna, it's always possible to find spots for quiet walks and picnics. Not far away from Glavanna is Glebe House. Glebe House stands only a short walk from the shores of Loch Garten. This Georgian building dates from 1828, when it was originally a rectory. Today it's a very popular destination for visitors to Donegal. Glebe House was bought in 1953 by the artist Derek Hill, who lived there for 30 years. Initially from England, He traveled the world where he developed a taste in Oriental and Islamic art. He furnished the house with style and taste, using a mixture of styles from all over the world, such as Oriental and Middle Eastern tapestries and hangings. A lot of the textiles and wallpapers are original William Morris, who was one of the most famous designers of the Victorian era. All around the unusually furnished house are many examples of Irish art from around that period. The kitchen has a delightful folk style and is full of paintings by the Tory Island artists. During his life in Ireland, Derek Hill visited Tory Island. This island is about 5 miles off the coast of Donegal. Derek Hill arrived there in 1956 to paint landscapes, and pretty soon he had inspired the islanders to paint. The most famous of all the Tory Island painters was James Dixon, who did not even pick up a brush until he was in his 60s. In addition to the art of Donegal, there are many examples of other great artists, such as Picasso, Bonnard, Renoir, and other leading 19th and 20th century artists. These are housed in the very modern art gallery built alongside the house. Set in landscaped gardens, the house was given to the nation in 1980 by Derek Hill. With a place so remote as Donegal, it is not surprising that the traditional way of life still exists in large areas of this county. Lots of small communities lie dotted around the county, whether they are villages made up of a number of houses or just one small cottage that nestles in the countryside on its own. Donegal is the third largest county in Ireland, after Cork and Galway, but has the largest Gael tact. The Gael tact is a name for the officially recognized Irish-speaking area. The Irish government actually pay grants to encourage local people to remain in the Gael tact. Here you can walk into a shop or a bar and overhear true Irish being spoken, the oldest Aryan language of all. It's a strange language. Soft tones mix with harsher, more throaty sounds. The people here are tremendously proud of their heritage, as being a place that the British could never quite conquer, with the wilder regions never once falling under British rule. Despite once being part of Northern Ireland, the British chose to let Donegal stay with the Republic. Today, the people of Donegal welcome strangers with open arms. They're well used to being observed going about their daily life by groups of curious visitors, keen to learn more about the traditional way of life. Whether it be working on the farm or fixing their thatched cottage roofs, the people of Donegal are always keen to talk and need no excuse to strike up conversations with strangers. Just outside Donegal are the Marble Arch Caves. These caves are open to visitors during the summer months and offer a spectacular subterranean journey through the caves. Spectacular rock formations of all shapes, sizes, and colors fill the vast caverns. Running through this huge complex of caves is a large subterranean river. Visitors begin the exploration of the caves by journeying along this river by boat. Along the way, some of the most spectacular rock formations in the whole of Ireland can be seen. The section of land between Donegal and Crawley is known as the Rosses, which means the headland. The Guibara Bridge marks the beginning of the Rosses, which is, in fact, a series of islands scattered around a broken and rocky coast. To many, this represents the real Donegal. Surrounded by 130 freshwater lakes and seemingly endless mountains, it seems a world away from modern life. This is Donegal at its most wild and beautiful. The next peninsula north of the Rosses is Gweedore. The most scenic area of Gweedore is an area of land called the Bloody Foreland. Rather like the Rosses, the Bloody Foreland is a wonderfully remote headland. The Bloody Foreland is a mass of red granite. The cliffs at the foreland get their name from the red tinge which the rocky coast takes on during sunset. The sea is then bathed in the same red, and Tory Island nearby becomes a glowing pearl on the scarlet sea. County Donegal, more than anywhere else in Ireland, is a place of stark beauty, a remote place of bleakness and dramatic scenery. Donegal is the perfect place for anyone exploring Ireland that seeks a private rendezvous with this peaceful wilderness. Here in these far-flung reaches, you will find a rural ideal, a true picture postcard of an old Ireland that any visitor will keep with them and treasure forever.